Welcome to the Rotary Times Show, a public service program presented by Rotary District 7610. On our programs, we talk with Rotarians and community leaders and discuss how Rotary International build partnerships to support local, national, and world communities. I'm your host, Rotarian Dr. Deborah Jackson from the Rotary Club of McLean, Virginia. The success of a Rotary Club is dependent on the club president. They lead, inspire, motivate, and connect their clubs with communities and others locally and around the world. Joining me remotely is Rotarian Jamie Larounis, who is the president of the Rotary Club of Stafford, Virginia for the 23-24 Rotary year. Welcome, President Jamie, to the Rotary Times Show.
Hello, good to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. It's good to see you again, and it's been a while. So I'm just thrilled about your presidency and all the things you've been doing over this past year.
It's been a busy year.
I'm sure it has. Okay, let's get started. I'd like to start off by just having my audience get a little bit of background on Jamie. Talk to us about your background, your life before Rotary, where you're from, maybe your education, what you do for a living.
Sure. So I grew up north of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and a lot of what I did as a kid, and this kind of has to do with what I did as an adult, was involved with scouting. And so I was in the Boy Scouts of America for, probably 15 years as a youth, went all the way through Eagle Scout. And then I went down to college in Fredericksburg, Virginia, graduated from the University of Mary Washington with a political science degree. And at that point, wanted to give back to scouting, which had kind of changed my life up to that point, and started working professionally for the Boy Scouts for about 5 years or so once I graduated college. And so I was responsible for all of the Fredericksburg region, Stafford County, Fredericksburg, even down into Spotsylvania and Caroline County and whatnot. Moved up to Reston, Virginia. I left the Boy Scouts and then started working basically as a freelancer. Everything that I do now is all centered around the travel industry. And so I work now with loyalty programs and frequent flyer programs and credit cards. That's kind of been a passion of mine on the side for a number of years, helping travelers, redeem their miles and learn how to travel better. And so that's what I do now for the most part full time.
And we're delighted that you're in Rotary and doing just that. We know you helped many of us with the Australian trip and now Singapore. So I'm glad you're with us. Now tell us about your club. You're with the Rotary Club of Stafford. Give us a little bit of background on the Rotary Club of Stafford.
Yeah, so we've got about 30 members. So to give you a little bit of a background of Stafford County, there's two clubs that represent Stafford. There's the North Stafford Rotary, which basically represents everything north of Courthouse Road, which sort of evenly divides Stafford County into two. And then our club, Stafford Rotary, which sort of represents the southern half, although we work a lot with the North Stafford Rotary to sort of represent the county as a whole. We have about 30 members, including the superintendent of schools, our county sheriff, and a number of other kind of larger positions. So we're real proud of that. And we've got one of the things I think is unique about our club is we have a lot of district leaders, and sure, there's a lot of district leaders and all sorts of clubs across District 7610, but our district governors from our club, we've got several past district governors, our district treasurers from our club. So it's kind of a powerhouse of a group. We're kind of small, but really, really mighty and really, really passionate about Rotary.
And that also helps us better understand how you develop Rotarians. I know some of your former district leaders are mentors to many others who've come through the district. So you're right. They have a real understanding of Rotary and how Rotary also builds leaders. So and I know you do a lot for the district as well, because I've seen you around the district serving in various capacities. So we congratulate you and keep doing it. Keep doing the good stuff. Okay? Tell us about your club service, some of your service functions. How do you ensure that the club has, that it operates in a manner that fulfills your mandates and what you'd like to see happen?
So back before I became president, which started on July 1 of last year, I met with our board. I met with our club members and sort of created a club vision for the coming year. I was trying to find out what is going well, what is not going well, where can we improve, and I took that feedback and then incorporated it into our meetings. And so a lot of our club members said that they didn't understand enough of the business of the club, kind
Mhm.
of daily operations and committee reports and stuff like that. And so we brought that into our general club meetings. Our speakers this year have really, really improved. I think we've got a good group of dynamic, but also prominent speakers, people that the club really wants to hear from. I think in previous years, we were kind of just grabbing anybody off of the street, but now we've really turned our attention into bringing folks in that will not only change, people in the club as far as connecting with those folks for business relationships and networking, but also kind of taking that club to a next level and learning about different service opportunities, projects, and that type of thing. So that's really worked well for us.
And you just said something I think that our audience needs to hear. Not only do you provide a service to the community, you are providing a service to your members. By introducing those speakers that somehow contributes to their own development, professionally, personally, whatever it may be. So that's a great thing to hear.
Mhm.
Have you all had to change much since the pandemic? And I know a lot of clubs I've run across have had to change the way they do business as a result of that.
So obviously the pandemic, kind of inspired us to do virtual meetings. And so
Mhm.
all of our meetings are both in person and virtual on Zoom. And so we have some members that rarely ever show up into in-person meetings and will just come on Zoom. We've got folks that are traveling and doing work engagements and whatnot where they can only be, on Zoom for certain meetings. And so that's really worked well for us. We've actually invested in some new technology to make that experience even better for members. I heard some feedback earlier on in the year that, when we did our virtual or hybrid meetings, folks were really just staring at whoever was on the other end of the one computer on the podium, and
Mhm.
it wasn't interactive with everybody else in the audience. And so I invested in a owl camera,
Mm,
which
mhm.
basically has a 360-degree view of the entire room. And when someone speaks, the camera sort of diverts its attention to whoever that is, whether that's the person at the podium or the person sitting in the audience tables. And so that's really made it a lot more interactive. And so I am a huge fan of these virtual meetings because not only has it allowed me to be connected, even prior to becoming president, I'd miss a few meetings occasionally, but I'd still be on Zoom,
Mhm.
still be connected. And that's going to be the same next year, when I'm no longer president.
I love it. I love it. And that thing looks like an aisle. We
It,
we
it's
have
kind of
one in
crazy.
my club too. And I
Uh,
walked in and I saw it. I said, "What is that?" They said the
yeah,
aisle, and then talked about what it did. So I would agree with you. It allows you to be able to be. It allows me here to have you here. Zoom is a
yep.
tool I think that has changed all of us. So I'm in agreement with you there. How about community service? What programs is your club actively involved in terms of community service right now?
So our club is big in supporting youth, and that's kind of our mantra with all of our service projects, fundraisers. We do a huge fundraiser earlier in the year called Via Calori. It's a chalk art festival, and we take all the profits from that to support youth in Stafford County through the school system. As I mentioned before, we've got our superintendent of schools as a member, and so that's been really helpful as far as connecting to see where the need is. Our upcoming projects are going to support financial, constraints on the youth that may not be able to purchase lunch, and there's a huge debt in the county as far as unpaid meals, and so we're going to divert a little bit of our attention to that. We do a number of projects, feeding the homeless and ringing a bell at in December for the Salvation Army and a number of kind of odds and ends. But we try to focus, a good chunk of our service focusing on youth and trying to give back. Our current youth services chair is a retired school teacher, so that's absolutely perfect
Mhm.
as far as relationship with the schools. And her co-chair works actually now for the Boy Scouts, my previous position, funny enough. And
Mhm.
so, of course, she has access to kids and knows how to work with them. And so, we've got a real good tandem effort to get back into the community.
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful because when we think about it, our future those young people coming through. So to make those connections with the school system, I mean, I'm delighted. I applaud you for having the superintendent in your club, because they represent, you know, what you can do in the schools. You know, when they say it's okay, it's okay. So,
Right.
and I also applaud you on looking at and picking up a national initiative of looking at these lunch programs for young people who have these unpaid debts. I think a lot of people don't realize when schools offer the lunch programs, the kids who are on some of the free or modified, when they can't pay, they get, and I don't know about Stafford, but in Fairfax, they would give them a peanut butter or jelly sandwich. Well, when other kids are getting these full-blown meals. So we
Right.
don't want that to happen. So I'm a former educator, so I applaud you all in your club for your initiatives in that area. What programs, or do you have any programs that are new that have come about since your presidency?
I mean, since our presidency, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I think our past president, Charisse, did a phenomenal job kind of taking our club, you know, after COVID. And so I didn't try to reinvent the wheel from what we were doing, but we've tried to modify things a little bit. Our club has traditionally met for lunch ever since I joined, and I've been a Rotarian and in Stafford Rotary now for about 10 years, a little bit over that. And we've always met for lunch. And so one of the new things that I'm particularly proud of under my year is that we introduced the last Wednesday of the month as now an evening meeting. And we've got Rotarians that, you know, travel up north to Northern Virginia. They work for the government. They're preoccupied during the day, but they still want to be active in Rotary. And so we took that last Wednesday of the month. We made an official evening meeting at 7 o'clock. We just meet for dinner instead of lunch at the same venue. We've got a speaker. Everything is normal, but we've seen an increased participation that last Wednesday from folks that can't attend those other days. And so that's working real well for us. I hope that will continue into the future. We're one of the, you know, only dinner clubs or clubs to offer that dinner option in the area. There is one other club, but you know, we're kind of the second, if you will, and gives that variety for people looking to join Rotary. It's just that additional option because not everyone can come at breakfast, not everyone can come at lunch, and so we're not a full-blown dinner club. We're looking at maybe alternating some other meetings as well, but we're kind of moving in that direction to offer additional flexibility.
All righty. It's good stuff going on in Stafford. We're going to take a short break right now, and we'll be right back to talk more with President Jamie. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the Rotary Times. We're here talking Rotarian Jamie Larounis, the president of the Rotary Club of Stafford, Virginia for the 2023-24 Rotary year. My Jamie, you've talked about a whole lot about what your club is doing. I'm very impressed and look forward to maybe stopping in sometime and just checking you all out since you're a luncheon club. I can get to Fredericksburg and back before dinner.
There you go.
Yeah. Let's talk about vocational service. Is that something that your club is involved?
Yeah, so our club has been involved with vocational service, for a number of years. I will say the past few years, we've kind of diverted a lot of that attention to youth service, to fundraising, to other aspects. We are only a 30-person club, and I would say about only 15 to 20 of those members are truly active on a weekly basis. And so one of the things I had to do earlier in the year is sort of sit down and say, what areas that we were going to focus more on. I'd
Mhm.
rather not put, eggs in every single basket and only do each of those things, 50%. I wanted to do a few things 100%. And so we still do vocational service. We have a number of scholarships that we give out to folks, going into certain career fields. We've supported the sheriff's office and fire department for a public safety person of the year. We are doing a number of things to get into the schools as far as a career fair and explaining what different career opportunities are out there. So we are doing a number of that stuff, not as much as I'd like to, and I'm hoping we can kind of grow our membership to get back into that more.
Okay. What are some other projects that you all are involved in that you are personally, brings you personal satisfaction?
I am really a fan of our Via Calori fundraiser. It's a chalk art festival that we do each year in September. It's not only is it beautiful, and artists will come out and do all sorts of great paintings on the sidewalk and blacktop in chalk, but we bring out entertainers and food trucks. It's a real great community festival because Stafford County has a problem where there really isn't a central point where everybody can gather. There's really not this one thing that Stafford is known for. A lot of people tend to go north into Prince William, they go south into Fredericksburg, but Stafford doesn't have that thing that people can gravitate towards. And so we've tried to make Via Calori that thing. And I'm really proud of our partnership with the North Stafford Rotary. It's impossible for us to cover the entire county or to do everything. And so we have a really great working relationship with North Stafford that is really growing. And so I'm particularly proud of the work the committee's done, but also that collaboration between both clubs, because that's what Rotary is about. It's not about us being selfish to do one project. We're trying to get out there, trying to expand our reach. And in order to do that, we need the help of additional people.
Absolutely. Collaboration is the key. You're absolutely right there. How about international projects? Is your club involved in any international service programs?
Yeah, we recently sent down one Rotarian from our club, and then we sent down a Rotarian from the North Stafford Rotary to El Salvador. They were able to help build a library and bring down books and sort of set up an operation down there. And that project is going to grow into the future. We used some district grant money from this year. We're looking at doing a global grant and expanding that for future years. And what I really want to have happen is get our actual Rotarians boots on the ground. We were sort of testing the waters this year
Hmm.
as a first time project. We partnered not only with the North Stafford Rotary, but an organization called E3 Kids. And what I really want to have happen in future years is we're actually sending a group of, 10, 15 Rotarians down there to, put nails into the wall or build whatever needs to be built. Because I think when people actually do it themselves versus writing that check, it means a lot more, and people can take that information back and really spread the good word of Rotary.
I like that. I like that. So when you all get to doing that, as you just said, you'll probably look at a global grant to do that. Will you have to partner with another Rotary organization in El Salvador to do that?
So when the crew went down a few months ago, they did partner with some of the Rotary clubs in that area. And what I'd like to have happen, before we go down this road of a grant is really get to know that club more, get to know their leaders,
Hmm.
get to know what they're doing, where the needs are, and have that actual collaboration. Because right now it's really between us and our partners in the north of the county. We're kind of taking this project and bringing it down there, but I really want there to be a collaborative international approach of taking a look at the Rotary clubs in that area and then telling us, hey, this is where we really think, those funds could be needed or manpower could be needed, and truly creating that, partnership across the borders.
Absolutely. Jamie, let me ask you a question because oftentimes I hear Rotary clubs say they would like to do a global grant, but they don't know the steps. Are you working with a specific office in the district that, helps to guide you, to help you to navigate that process?
So we are really fortunate in our club. Our district treasurer is in our club.
Mhm.
We also have our assistant governor is in our club, and our district governor is in our club. And so, fortunately, we've got a lot of internal knowledge to be able to, write those grants. But we've sort of turned into a club that's able to share a lot of that knowledge with other groups,
Mhm.
training and other presidents that need to know this stuff. And so we're hopefully going to be using a lot of that in future years as folks grow up the ranks and leadership positions and whatnot, to sort of impart that knowledge and sort of be an example of a club that's done it well, which I think we have, and we have for a number of years, but more imparting that knowledge on clubs that maybe don't know how to do it as well.
I'd love to see that happen because I do hear clubs say they would like to do that. They know the district grant process. That's fairly simple, but that global grant process is a little more challenging. So thank you all, and thank your club members for stepping up to model the way to maybe make that piece happen.
Mhm.
Service above self. Has that been helpful to you in conducting your own personal life or business work life?
Yeah, as I mentioned previously, I grew up in the Boy Scouts, and so service was the number one thing. And even going through college, I gave back, doing EMT work and being on a rescue squad. And so, I kind of joke with people that if I got paid to do all the volunteer work that I did, I'd be rich right now and retired on a Hawaiian island somewhere. But passion of mine is giving back, and I think that's super important to lead by example. I've tried to, one of the things as president is I want to show that I'm involved on the district level. I'm involved with other projects because I want to set that example for other Rotarians to say, you know what, there is a future beyond the club. There's more to just our club. Going to an international convention, volunteering with things that have nothing to do with Rotary, because I think if we can set that example both on a giving perspective, whether it's giving to the foundation or other groups, or whether it's actual boots on the ground, helping with leadership positions and whatnot, it will set a good example for people that want to, hopefully follow in those footsteps in the future.
And you said something that I think strikes at home for myself. When we talk about Rotary members and when they get involved, as you just described, is even as much as going to the Rotary convention. I always say when you go to the convention, you go a member, but you come back a Rotarian.
Mhm.
So that is very important to really help people better understand the world and what that mission looks like. Just getting involved. So thank you
Mhm.
for that. How about the four-way test? How does that work for you in dealing, with all the things that you do? Because I know you deal with a lot of different things.
I mean, the four-way test is what I sometimes tell folks. It's the adult version of the Scout oath and law, right? That's what I grew up on as a kid, and this is sort of the adult version of that. So it's certainly nothing new, and I think it sort of simplifies it into what you need to do on a daily basis. I think I hopefully exemplify the ideals of that, in whether it's business dealings or whether it's volunteer work or just living day to day life. I think we do a good job of that, and I think it's important that people have something to work off of. Right, as a kid, I was always ingrained in that Scout oath and law. We would say it at every meeting, every
Mhm.
function, and we do the same exact thing in Rotary. And you just get it drilled into your head. And when it's drilled into your head like that, it's something you won't forget. And when you're signing a contract, or whether you're working with someone, or whatever you're doing for your business, you have no choice but to remember that four-way test when it comes down to it. So I think it's really important.
Wonderful. Jamie, as we close this program, I'm going to ask you as a new young aspiring leader in our district, what would you tell those new young leaders? What message would you leave for anyone that's out there interested in leadership very quickly?
Yeah, being a young person in Rotary has changed my life, and I really want to get younger Rotarians in because I think people see Rotary as this, old people's club, and it's certainly not. There's a lot of youth, there's a lot of passion out there, there's a lot of drive to change the way Rotary works, service projects, meetings, technology, whatever it is. I hope to be district governor one day. I hope to sort of take a lot of that, knowledge and passion that I have as a younger person, that fresh perspective, and use that to hopefully do some good in the world. And so I can't encourage youth or younger people enough to join Rotary, see what it can offer you, but then also give back a little bit and help change, the mindset of Rotary.
Absolutely. And if I can be a part of assisting you on your journey, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah.
You got it. We want to thank you, Jamie, for joining us today, and we hope you'll come back and continue to share your journey and your vision for Rotary.
Of course.
For the Rotary Times program, I am your host, Rotarian Dr. Deborah Jackson from the Rotary Club of McLean, Virginia. You're welcome to join us at a Rotary Club in your area for either breakfast, lunch, dinner, or a service project. You can find a club near you by looking us up on the internet. Many clubs are hosting meetings in person, virtually, or in some hybrid format. You only need to look us up for details. Remember, our time is your time, and it's always time well spent. Please join us for our next program as we continue to celebrate Rotary's 117 years of service above self. Funding for this program is made possible by the generosity of Rotarian Lynn Heinrichs, State Farm Agency, McLean, Virginia.